Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, guys, you did it. You have officially made it to the end of the work week. Friday right around the corner, and then you know what happens. Playoff football, the weekend, everything you need to get done outside, or at least to enjoy the outside, happening here in the next couple of days. I'm meteorologist Gabe. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. We'll have the forecast for you if you're able to go outside and enjoy some of these football games. But for some of us, yeah. For others, we'll see. Now that's the golden question. Where are those rain chances setting up? But first, before we get there, we're already seeing what that moisture is doing here in North Mississippi, and that's producing some of those dense fog advisories already in effect for a large portion of North Mississippi. That's going to be in place until 8 a.m. for the start of our Friday. So similar to this morning, low beams will be essential, but I went out the door and that is some thick stuff. Going to be tough to see, and those water droplets basically reflecting that light and making it nearly impossible to drive down the road and not be blinded by others that are oncoming towards you. Latest on Friday's rain chances. Of course, we'll be walking through that in more detail. Latest model run, not ideal for those football games. Possibly. And that's the golden question again. It's a possible scenario because this frontal boundary not doing a great job on the consistency. It's shifted each time we've gotten a model run, but we feel a little bit better about these rain chances, and the confidence is climbing for that timing just a bit. Okay, Friday means football. We're going to have those football forecasts coming at you here in just a moment. We're also going to have getting in the classroom. I was able to head over to Boonville Middle School with my beautiful bride to go to her classroom and talk to her kids a bit about the weather. We'll be talking about that as well coming up in the 10 o'clock broadcast. So thank you once again for joining us. Again, we have a lot to track here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Let's go ahead and jump into that with the first 12. Dry for the most part for the start of our evening, 11 p.m. No percentage of rainfall. Same thing by 2 a.m. By the time we get towards 5 a.m., those early morning commuters, very isolated chances of rainfall. That's as that first band works its way into our area. As the morning continues on, those rain chances gradually climb, 30% there by 11, up to 40% by the afternoon. But you might notice that those rain chances pushing a little bit ahead of time from what we had at 6. That's because that confidence is climbing in some increased activity, and we'll explain why in just a moment. But yeah, have that rain gear ready across North Mississippi. Now 61 degrees to start the day is a mild start, so make sure to have shorts and short sleeves still an option. I mean, guys, we're in November. When do we break out the sweatshirts? Mine are still staring at me in my closet saying, Gabe, why did you break us out 3 weeks ago? So I'm hoping to use them. I know a lot of you at home are as well. Starkville, 64 degrees. Luckily, the Bulldogs off this weekend, so heartbreak not an option, at least not on the football field. Praise God, because we've been through the ringer the past couple of weeks. But 64 degrees, hopefully we can do some damage next Friday, but we'll see. And I know my wife not exactly liking those words coming out of my mouth because she's a big-time Rebel fan. All right, Greenville, 68 degrees. Dew point currently at 61. You're getting a little bit of that fogginess there on the surface, but that fog advisory actually not in place for Greenville. It's going to be for folks north of Highway 6 once again. And one of those areas, Blue Springs. Need I say any more? Dense fog advisories are in place for a reason, and it's because it is nearly impossible to see just a couple of feet in front of you. This is a look at Highway 9 going north. Usually we can see the horizon. Usually we can see all the way to Ellistown. Not tonight. I don't even think we can see the intersection. That's just about a half mile up the road. So yeah, make sure to have those low beams on. You can see how those lights just reflect off that moisture that's in the air. Makes it really tough to see. And I want you guys to stay safe as we're driving. I mean, yeah, it could be blinding for folks even driving right behind you. So be safe, but be cautious as we go about that evening commute. Our Mississippi Live Weather Radar, as you can see, dry across the region, continues to remain that way with a few showers out there towards Forest City and Marianna. That's just a result of some of that lingering moisture, but we'll get into surface analysis here in just a moment and walk through that in more detail. Unfortunately, our Memphis radar site is down, so we're actually going to have to use a national composite, but that'll be shown on surface analysis, and then we'll break it down in a little bit more detail. Water vapor imagery. I included this to show you how humid of a forecast we are talking about in North Mississippi. Usually we get some of these oranges popping up. Not the case tonight. We are all the way into that humid side of things, and a lot of that going to primarily be along the Tennessee state lines. That's why dense fog advisories are in place north of Highway 6, and that is in place until 8 a.m. on our Friday morning. That does encompass parts of Itawamba, Lee, Pontotoc, Panola, Lafayette, and then moving north up into the Tennessee state line for parts of Tunica, Tate, DeSoto, Marshall, Benton, Tippah, Alcorn, Prentice, and Tishomingo. All of those counties I just listed, dense fog advisory up until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Make sure to, of course, err on the side of caution and leave a few minutes early because we don't want you to have to drive at that same speed in those conditions and be hazardous to others and even yourself. So go ahead and be on the safe side and stay safe on that morning commute. All right, let's bring it out here real quick and assess what we're seeing across the area. So the big driver in our forecast today was this warm front. Models not doing the best job on the positioning of this warm front, moved a little bit more south than what models were forecasting for yesterday, and so that's why our rain chances were up just a bit as we got into those late morning, early afternoon hours. Well, tomorrow, our big driver in the forecast is going to be out here towards Dallas and Oklahoma City, this cold front moving along Wichita Falls and bringing a good bit of moisture with it. This frontal system is about to be overtaken by this cold front, and that cold front is going to start to dip further into North Mississippi, and that's giving us our elevated rain chances into our Friday. Let's go ahead and break that down. So futurecast for the next couple of hours. What are we going to see? Well, this low is going to be overtaken as you see those fronts like coinciding with one another. They're in Missouri and Kansas. So at some point that's just going to dissipate out and give in to this next frontal boundary, as you can see by 6 a.m. on our Friday. Once that happens, you can see all of that moisture along that leading edge and that northerly wind back behind it. That's going to be the shift in the weather pattern moving into our weekend. But before we get there, we still have a Friday we got to get through. So Friday, mid-morning, a lot of that moisture starts to build along this frontal boundary as it pushes further towards the south and east, and there's where some elevated rain chances can move in place. Now I want to say, noontime, we are still getting what's left of that previous frontal system. Although it's not depicted on our surface analysis, it is still there because as you can get a good visual of right here, I'm going to draw it out for you, so don't judge my art skills, but this cold front still in place. That is not a bad cold front. I'm kind of proud of that. And then you also get this warm front still in place, basically coinciding with that same frontal boundary. So we're talking right there along parts of North Tennessee. And so with this, you do still have this warm sector that's all the way here in North Mississippi, Southern Mississippi, and Louisiana. That's where you're getting a lot of this moisture because where are those winds coming out of? The south, which it has that Gulf moisture. So that's why you still have this southerly wind with somewhat of lifting mechanism still in place. And that's what's allowing a little bit of those showers and storms to form by mid to late morning on our Friday and then into our afternoon as well once this cold front inches closer. So yes, there's your Bob Ross moment, art with Gabe. I hope you guys understand that, but lots to talk about whenever we're getting into that forecast. And of course, those chances do climb once again, getting into our early afternoon, should I say, and then on into the late afternoon as well. When we're talking rain chances by 6 a.m., about 30% continues by 9, and getting it towards that early afternoon time frame, we're talking 40% coverage. Then things diminish just a bit by the evening time frame, but pick back up into those overnight hours as the rest of that frontal system works its way on through. So rain chances, not necessarily going to be widespread. It's going to be scattered all day long, but that means that several areas could be affected multiple times as it works its way on through. So have that rain gear in the back seat just in case. Again, err on the side of caution. We want you guys to stay dry walking into the school building and walking out. And same thing with football games, walking into the football games, at the football game, and walking out of the football game. There's ways we can compensate for it. And of course, that is with an umbrella and a rain jacket. And highlights are going to be fun tomorrow, to say the least. I'm expecting a lot of mud. So it's going to be a good one down in West Point at our game of the week. And wherever you're headed, same thing goes for you as well. Should be a great Friday night. Just might be a little bit muddy in the process. So coming up in the next 60, I just mentioned football. We're going to have the latest on those football forecasts as well as the county by county analysis of that frontal system working its way on through for Friday. Latest model runs. What does it depict? We'll track that here in the Room to Room Weather Center for Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
At Room to Room, there's no need to wait. Black Friday deals are going on now.
Discover our gift shop full of treasures, Peter's Pottery, Votivo, and Tyler Candles, kitchen essentials, and more, all in stock now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
I see some folks over there in chat discussing rain chances and talking about, is it good? Is it bad? We are still under those drought conditions, which we'll get into in just a moment, which we do need rainfall to compensate for, but the timing of it, not ideal. I understand that. Football games are happening tomorrow night and we don't want rainfall associated with it, but we'll be out there with you guys, living through the rainfall and of course soaking up every second. But as we get towards our weekend, things do get better. There is good news in that extended forecast. We'll get to that as well in just a moment, but I do want to say rain is good, timing is bad. That's the way to assess it. 64 degrees in Mabin right now. You're getting a look at what is not a crystal clear evening. Some of that fog working its way south into Oktibbeha County, but we do expect that fog to primarily remain around the Tennessee state line. That's where those dense fog advisories are still in effect. We saw Blue Springs earlier. Wouldn't want to be driving along 22 right now. Cleveland, 68 degrees. This is still south of those dense fog advisories, but dew point's still at 61 degrees and wind still coming out of the south. The biggest thing whenever it comes to fog, especially after rain showers like what we had today, there wasn't really anything to dry up the atmosphere here on the ground. So whenever we're talking about fog forming tonight, it's due to all that rainfall that moved through earlier today, not drying up, no winds to dry it up overnight, and so that moisture has to go somewhere, and it basically radiates out into some fog right here on the surface. And that makes for some dense fog advisories, and that's why we do have those in place for the start of our Friday. Now getting a look there in Fulton, Itawamba County is included in that fog advisory. I do want to say seeing a little bit up there around 22, but not nearly the coverage that we were getting in Blue Springs. That was just absurd with how much fog coverage we were getting up there. So hopefully things do get better towards tomorrow morning, and we do expect it to. That dense fog advisory, like we mentioned, up until 8 a.m. on our Friday, and that does encompass parts of Lafayette County, working its way east into Itawamba County, and we do extend it a little bit further towards the south there around Neshoba County, there along Yalobusha, Calhoun, Chickasaw, and Monroe County. So make sure to have those low beams on. Going to re-emphasize that once again, but hopefully we don't have fog and rainfall. That's the thing that we don't want because it's just two hazards together, not exactly a combination for success. Our Mississippi Live Weather Radar calm right now, but we are tracking a little bit of moisture out there north into Tennessee and Kentucky. That's not our weather maker. Our weather maker is coming out from the west and going to work its way into the forecast towards the start of our Friday. Now, as we look at a few of those totals across the area, whenever it came to those rain chances, rain output, should I say, 2.8 inches there in Benton County. It was a saturated forecast to say the least. 1.8 inches close to the Ripley area. I was up in Boonville earlier today, got 3/4 of an inch and a decent downpour. Heard the thunder rumble as well, so some lightning strikes associated with it. 1/2 inch there in Union County around New Albany, and Tupelo 3/4 of an inch as well. So this has been a busy day for some, but not all of us. As you can see down here, I'll highlight in a few zeros for you to give you the idea, but no rainfall extended south of Highway 6, or at least not by much. So hopefully we get some of those rain chances working its way south because we still need it. Our rainfall totals over the past 3 hours, non-existent. We've been dry. All those rain chances moved through earlier today, and that's where that decent output happened. As we look at rainfall totals out there towards the west, this is what's moving its way into our forecast, and still about 2 inches in Texarkana, all of that inching out towards the east and going to end up here in North Mississippi at some point on our Friday. Just what time frame? We'll look at that in a moment. Drought monitor, I told you I'd bring it up, and this is the latest one that was issued today. Still seeing level 3 drought conditions here in Oxford and Grenada, but honestly, things aren't looking nearly as bad. Down there in Demopolis, Alabama, that's where folks are still under a level 4 drought, so conditions could be worse, but I know a lot of farmers out there are looking at me like, Gabe, it's still bad, so we still need to take it seriously. You're exactly right. So just go ahead and make sure those plants are watered. Hopefully tomorrow it's giving everyone a little bit of a break from watering those plants. And honestly, at this point, harvest, I believe harvest is happening, or it's wrapping up around this time frame. It's on the back end for sure. So that level 3 drought in parts of Grenada, Lafayette, and Tate County. But as we work our way through the rest of the area, level 2 drought for Chickasaw, Pontotoc, and Union, and Prentiss. Level 1 for Itawamba, Monroe, Lowndes, and Oktibbeha County. So these are receding just a bit, and hopefully that continues to be the case as we get into those next couple of weeks. But we need rainfall in order for that to happen, and we don't need rainfall all at one time. We need it over a set period of days to kind of alleviate those drought conditions. Day planner, dry for now. Emphasis on for now, because those rain chances start to pick back up by 3 a.m., 10% coverage, 30% there by 6 a.m. All right, Futurecast, let's go ahead and get into it. And of course, this is what everyone's been waiting on seeing as we get into those overnight hours, but our decent rainfall outputs are going to be out there towards Arkansas by midnight. So a lot of this stuff that you're seeing along the Tennessee state line, really that's going to be fog. That's not exactly going to be rainfall happening aloft. That's what our Futurecast is detecting just a bit. So pay attention to these darker greens that do show up, and that's around 2 to 3 a.m. working its way into Tunica County and DeSoto County, inching closer into North Mississippi. And of course, those heavier outputs going to be out there towards the like we mentioned, Tunica, West Helena, Olive Branch, and DeSoto County, and then Tate County included within that. Now, this is 4 a.m. on our Friday. Let's continue that forecast going into those early morning hours, and you can see some decent rainfall outputs there right over the top of DeSoto County. Wouldn't be surprised if there were a few rumbles of thunder with that as well, but that's 6 a.m. on our Friday. Our rain chances, not exactly widespread just yet. A large portion of us still remaining dry for that morning commute. So if it's not raining, you're getting fog. If it's not fog, well, then you live south. That's the way to assess what we're getting here in North Mississippi. Low temperatures, with all of that moisture out there towards the west, we're only going to be in the mid-60s for the start of the day. Not exactly a cool forecast for this time of year, but the rest of us, low 60s, pretty uniform across the board with 60 in Amory, 60 in Boonville, and 59 down around Macon. Our school day forecast starting off mild, 30% coverage on that rainfall, but still going to be in the far northwest part of our area, 30% by lunch and 40% towards that final bell. And this will be the big driver in the forecast, is the positioning on that rainfall moving into our Friday morning and into the afternoon hours. But needless to say, scattered coverage. We need to have that rain gear on standby throughout the day just in case these do pop up where you're at. Okay, now let's get into breaking this down. 7:30, you start to see more development happening out there towards West Helena, Marianna, Arkansas, and Forest City, Arkansas. Watch how this forms into a band that starts to work its way across the area. So that band basically going right along I-55 towards Yalobusha County from DeSoto County, and then working its way west to Highway 61 in Cleveland and Shelby. Then this band starts to work its way across the area once again. By 10:30, we're talking about Pontotoc County, up north towards Tippah and Benton, and then working its way southwest, that southwest orientation on this band, towards Holmes County and Chula, and then Hollandale on the Mississippi state line there on the Arkansas border. So as we work our way into the noontime hour, that's where folks in Tupelo, Fulton, Iuka, Eupora, Houston, getting those showers, and even down there around Kosciuszko. The decent outputs are going to be down here towards Winona and Eupora and Houston, with some rumbles of thunder expected within those as well. But this band, I mean, this is where it becomes a little bit more of a uniform distribution, because yes, we're not going to get it all day long, but we are going to get those rain chances working its way through the region if it does continue to set up in this uniform distribution as it gradually moves across the area. So by Friday afternoon, 1:30, we're working into the Golden Triangle, and by 3 p.m., starting to work into western Alabama, and really going to be south of Highway 82 and parts of Macon and Louisville with some heavy outputs as well. That's 3 p.m. on your Friday, wrapping up the school day, picking up the little ones. So make sure to have that rain gear ready if you're picking them up in Louisville or Macon. I know a big matchup down in Macon with Choctaw County coming into town, so hopefully that rain goes away before that kickoff happens, and it has a couple hours to do so. It does try to linger in the forecast there by 6 p.m., but working its way into Aliceville and Pickens County before heading off there towards Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So let's go ahead and look at those high temperatures, and as you can see right here, still going to be a warm one. Reason why it's warmer out west is because those rain showers work their way through the area, clearing out of the west by noon, so you still have that afternoon daytime heating taking place, and that's why we get 80 in Greenville, 78 in Cleveland, but it's more going to be the mid-70s for Houston, Bruce, New Albany, and Tupelo, and then out towards the east, being that those rain chances are moving in right at the peak heating time frame. We're only going to be in the low 70s across northwest Alabama. So your high school game of the week forecast. These percentages have flip-flopped here, there, and everywhere. And we explained this yesterday that it was a point forecast, meaning that it does it for a specific location. Well, that specific location was showing 60% yesterday. I said, do not believe the 60s. No, we're going to be talking about 30 to 40% by that kickoff, and we're seeing exactly that. Pre-game 20%, 67 or 30% by halftime, and then 40% by that final snap as those rain chances become a little bit increased as we head overnight and into our Saturday. 69 pregame, 65 by that final snap. Temperature-wise, the forecast you cannot complain about because this is just unheard of this time of year. But let's get into Futurecast, into those overnight hours, because this is where I'm paying attention, as we will be in West Point, because I don't want to get caught in these showers, and this is 9 p.m. on a Friday, so during those games. So if you're heading to Oxford to see Oxford take on, who's coming into town? I know you guys have a home game. Oh, it's going to make me mad. I'm going to look at this afterwards because I was keeping up with high school football last week. Oxford playing their game at home, 9 p.m., probably dealing with a few showers. Hopefully there's not any rain delays taking place. And Tupelo, you do have your matchup there with Germantown, and that end of the game might be impacted by a few of these showers working their way on through. So hopefully the the Golden Wave can take care of business and knock out Germantown so that way you guys can get home and stay dry in the process. Now, I do see showers working into West Point by midnight. I'm hoping the Green Wave take care of business or the Warriors take care of business one way or another. Whichever team gets us home before the rainfall, that's who I'm rooting for at this point, because we definitely need to stay on the drier side. I don't want to get my phone too wet taking those highlights. 3 a.m., a lot of those showers do clear out. And this is going to be that last round before that cold front takes a lot of this moisture away with it. And by Saturday morning, we're waking up and heading out the door to basically dry conditions. That lingering moisture in the forecast down around the Golden Triangle and further south and east. The rest of us dry, the rest of us feeling dry as that northerly wind cycling in some of that drier air. So Saturday getting into that mid to late morning, staying on the drier side once again. Cloud cover is still going to linger in the forecast just a bit, but as we get towards the afternoon, that starts to break up just a bit, letting that sunshine peek on through a little bit more than what we have been seeing, and really clearing out by the time we get towards our Sunday as well. So Saturday, much more dry, but we are going to be dealing with that gloomy sky still for a large portion of our day. 76 in Bruce, 70 there towards Senatobia, but those cooler temperatures showcasing there towards Tunica and South Haven in the upper 60s compared to the mid 70s we're still getting down south. So that cold front going to do its damage. We just have to give it a little bit of time, and we're really going to see those impacts come into our Sunday and for the start of our Monday as well. But we do have SEC football taking place this Saturday. Not the Rebels, not the Bulldogs, just the Crimson Tide this weekend, and it should be a one-sided game, to say the least. Eastern Illinois coming to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide. 76 first place, 77 by halftime, and 71 by that final snap. Any tailgating being done ahead of the game time should be good to go with no rain expected in that forecast, as a lot of that moisture does clear on out. So Friday, 40% coverage. Pay attention to meteorologist Maggie McCauley's forecast tomorrow morning, as that'll be fine-tuned ahead of our Friday taking place, but definitely going to probably be tracking a few showers, tracking a few storms, and assessing, what is actually verifying on those model runs and hopefully getting a better idea stamped down. And that's why we do have that morning and evening show, because each model run has something new to discover, and we'll walk through that, of course, as each broadcast goes on. Saturday, 20% with that lingering moisture. Sunday, very dry and also cooler with upper 40s back in the forecast. Those stick around for our Monday before more rain chances kick in, and that's going to be our next frontal system working its way through Monday night and into our Tuesday. Beyond that, lingering moisture in our Wednesday, but then things really start to change by Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving looking so much colder than what things have been. Praise God, because I am so ready for sweatshirt season. Why is it so hot right now? Golly. Yeah, we're definitely putting Matt said it earlier at 6, I'll give him credit, putting the sweat in sweatshirt, but that's sweat in your t-shirt. We want the actual sweatshirts that, you wear to stay warm. Anyway, oh man, I tried. Golly, that hurt. Man, okay, sweet. I think that's God saying, Gabe, we need to go to bed. All right, so go ahead and download that Mississippi Live Weather app, of course, free and available on the App Store today, both iOS and Android. Say a prayer. I'm going to go get some water after this. That almost knocked me out. Okay, I want to make sure that folks in chat are getting their questions answered. I see it blowing up again. A big thank you to everybody for joining tonight. And of course, I love the energy that you guys have in chat. I always check it from time to time and kind of see what you guys are saying. Always rooting for your teams. Go Alabama, go MSU, go Cowboys. I love that. Let's see, that's Pitter Pat. And then we'll be getting snow soon. Not with how warm it is. We don't even have to stand a chance with that. So I think our snow forecast is 0 right now. And honestly, I could hold out on some snow forecast for the time being, because talk about a hazardous commute. Fog has nothing on a snowy roadway. All right, so download that Mississippi Live Weather app, especially getting into our forecast tomorrow. We'll update you on rain chances moving into the area. Gives you about a 10-mile heads up that rainfall is approaching, so that way you can get those umbrellas out in time to stay dry. And of course, it also does have our 24/7 stream. That, of course, taking place at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 on our Friday morning with meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Again, a great way to wrap up the work week is by staying informed about what's happening in the weather world. She will do exactly that and break down those rain chances for your Friday and what to expect heading into that Thanksgiving holiday. And it's honestly a fun time, because you get to grab the cup of coffee in hand, enjoy your morning, enjoy taking a look outside and watching that rain fall down. And she'll be tracking those storms in more detail as we get into that forecast. All right, you guys have a fantastic Friday. Cannot wait to see you guys at our game of the week in West Point. And of course, can't wait to see you guys bright and early at 6:30 for Mississippi Live Weather in the morning.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
I felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.